All right, everybody, if I could get your attention, it is shortly after 7:30, and it is time to call our January City Council meeting to order. And I want to say I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Sorry we're running just a couple minutes behind. We just had a few things that we needed to get organized before we were ready to move forward. So we're going to start, as we always do, with the Pledge of Allegiance. And then if you could remain standing afterwards, Mr. Hicks is going to give the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight with just thanks. Thank you for grace. Thank you for all that you have done for us. Lord, we just come to you tonight with the hearts that we go into this meeting with open minds and open hearts, that we do what we feel is best for everyone within this community. Lord, we just ask for safety for everyone in this community, everyone in this county, everyone in this state. Lord, we just ask that you just continue to keep watching over those that are in California and dealing with all of that is taking place there. Lord, we just ask that you continue to keep watching over those that protect our freedom, from our military to our first responders and our police officers here locally as well as abroad. Lord, we just ask that you continue to keep watching over our kids and our administrators and our teachers within our school systems, that you just be with them every single day. Lord, we just ask that you watch over all of our families, keep everyone safe. We ask all of these things in your matchless name we pray. Everyone say amen.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. And before I do the approval of the agenda, we have a couple special guests here tonight. We have Major Amanda Kane, who, if you wouldn't mind just standing up and waving your hand to us. Major Kane is taking over as the commander of the North Precinct, which serves Sugar Hill from the standpoint of the Gwinnett County Police Department, and just want to say welcome to her and thank you for being here tonight. And then she might be mad at me for calling her out, but we have Judge Margaret Washburn here tonight. She is our municipal court judge that has served us for decades, and she does a great job for us. And she's going to be giving her annual judicial update in February. And so thank you for being here tonight and look forward to hearing from you in February. All right, first order of business is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Have a motion from Mr. Hicks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Anderson. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, is there, the next order of business is the motion to approve the minutes for the council meeting and executive session on December the 9th, for the work session and executive session on December the 2nd, and for the special called meeting on December the 19th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as posted in tonight's agenda.
Thank you. Have a motion from Ms. Avery. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Page. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, great. We now move on to awards, presentations, and proclamations, and I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Perkle.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make this proclamation on behalf of the whole council. Last year, we had a great loss in our community. Sherwood's drug shop closed down after more than 50 years in business, and over 70 years if you include the original incarnation. It was a Rexall drugstore in Beaufort when it started. Now, it's not often that we recognize drug dealers, but I'd like to recognize Danica Robertson and her staff for the tremendous job they did in our community. I've known Danica for about 15 years or so. I've known her father, Bobby Reese, even longer. Bobby served as our state representative for a number of years. I sat with Bobby and Danica's husband one night for one of Bobby's election returns. It was one that he wasn't supposed to win. It was just the three of us sitting there, and he won it. And I taught school with Sunday school with Bradley, and one of our students was Danica and Bradley's daughter, Reese. So I've known the Reeses and the Robertsons for a long time, but I didn't know Danica was a pharmacist until years later. When we started going to Sherwoods, we got treated royally. And when we had to consider whether or not we were going to get COVID vaccines, I was against it. My son didn't want to, but he was supposed to make a trip. He was going to have it. So I thought, okay, I'll get one to be supportive of him. But we were unsure about it. We sat down with Danica, and she spent a lot of time with us, and she told us she'd studied it, and she had even given it to her own family, and she was that sure that it was safe. So gave us great time, great care there. I thought it was because we had known them for so long, and we were close to the family. It was not until I started researching this proclamation and looking at all the Google reviews that I realized she was just treating me like everybody else. But that's the way she did. She treats everyone fantastic, and that's why the pharmacy is going to be missed so much. If you've ever tried to buy an appliance and looked at the reviews, you know everybody has something to gripe about. I almost gave up when I was trying to buy a refrigerator because I couldn't find anything that didn't have, say, at least 30 or 40% negative reviews. So I was so surprised when I looked up the reviews for Sherwood's drugstore. Yelp had 4 reviews, all of them 5-star. There's something called birdeye.com. I think maybe it was just more for pharmacies. I'm not sure, but it listed 74 reviews, 71 of them 5-star. Google had 43 reviews, 42 of them 5-star. Unbelievable, unless you ever went there. And so here's just a sample of those I'd like to read for you. The caring owner and staff don't just fill your prescriptions and move on to the next nameless customer like the big chains. They get to know you and go the extra mile to make sure that you're taken care of, and how the medicines might interact with the other medicines. I would not go anywhere else. Great pharmacy with fast and friendly service. I've been using Sherwoods for about 10 years, and I can't imagine going anywhere else. Sherwoods is by far the best pharmacy I've ever used. We no longer live close by, but it's worth the trip. Not only do all the staff members know me by name, but Danica has also helped me numerous times. She's given prescription advice, helped me find less expensive alternatives, and research medicines. It's important to me to have a doctor and a pharmacist that I trust, and I totally trust Danica and her staff. Another one, been using this pharmacy for several months now. The service is amazing. They show true compassion for their customers. Highly recommended. They make you feel like more than a number. I walk in and they know my family. They don't just recognize us, they know us. And this is our pharmacy. Best pharmacy in town, hands down. Friendly and knowledgeable staff that will leave you feeling like you're a member of the family. They're just fantastic. Another one, I absolutely love Danica. I was so scared to go get my COVID vaccine, but she made me feel comfortable and was very caring. I'm happy I went here. I went somewhere else. If I went somewhere else, I probably would have changed my mind. I'll be getting boosters here and anything else I need. Just a few more. The last thing I thought I would be doing is spending time to leave a positive review for a pharmacy. My expectations for pharmacies are low, and I've not had great experience with 2 large chain pharmacies. The lady I dealt with the first time remembered me 30 days later when I went back to get a refill. I'm about convenience because I'm a busy person, but like most, I appreciate customer service, and you get both here. If you're looking for a convenient pharmacy that will treat you right and take good care of you, look no further. I recommend Sherwood's Drug Shop. I'm a customer for life. One more, or 2 more. This one says, who doesn't love Sherwood's? This pharmacy's been serving countless people in the community for so many years. It's a staple in the community. And the last one, summed up by a guy named John Kirkpatrick, says it all. Freaking fantastic. So, Danica, I'd like you to come up if you would. We'd like to present this proclamation to you. And then after that, we'll bring up your family and the council and we'll take some pictures. Speak into the mic. Whereas Simpson's Rexall Drug was founded in Buford, Georgia in the 1940s, containing a pharmacy, a sandwich counter, and an ice cream counter. And whereas on May 31st, 1974, Donald Sherwood purchased the pharmacy from Mr. Earl Simpson and changed the name to Sherwood's Drug Shop. And whereas Mr. Sherwood relocated the store to 4700 Nelson Brogdon Boulevard, Suite 190, Sugar Hill, in 1986 and became indispensable to the community. And whereas Danica Robertson began volunteering at the pharmacy in 1996 until she was hired part-time, she later completed her pharmacy degree and became a full-time employee. In August 2011, Danica became the owner of Sherwood's Drugs after Mr. Sherwood had run the business for 37 years. And whereas one of the distinctive features of Sherwood's Drug Shop was their commitment to promoting overall health and wellness through tailored medication management and consultation services, patients trusted Sherwood's Drug Shop. It stood as a beacon of reliability and care for those seeking quality pharmacy services. They earned a glowing reputation, providing exceptional customer care, personalized attention, expert advice, and a wide range of services to the local community, including hosting a Saturday morning coffee club for decades. And whereas after winning Best of Gwinnett awards for 8 consecutive years from 2015 through 2023, Sherwood Drug Shop closed July 24th, 2024, after more than 50 years of service to the community. Now, therefore, the mayor and council of the city of Sugar Hill do proclaim January 13th, 2024 as Sherwood Drug Shop / Danica Robertson Day in the city of Sugar Hill, Georgia. So proclaim this 13th day of January, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perkle. And thank you, everybody. All right. Next, we're going to move on to reports. And I'll start with the city attorney, Mr. Hartley.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report.
Okay. All right, next we'll go to city council. And I think I'll start with Mr. Perkle today.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to thank all the city staff for helping us through these weather issues. I was not aware personally of any problems. I think the community did a great job staying home where they could, and it worked out great. It was the kind of snow I like to see. It gets here and it's gone the next day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perkle. Mr. Hicks, you're up next.
Thanks, Mayor. I have no report.
Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a report back from the Riverlands Authority, and I see we've got a few of our Riverlands Authority members in the audience tonight. The authority adopted its master plan after about 8 months of work on Wednesday. Really look forward to that plan. That plan will be published on our website if it's not already. It took into account the community's vision for the property, including through the Parks, Recreation, and Green Space Master Plan and Vision 100, and its own input process that it had for its master plan, and I think it turned out fantastic. I'm excited to see that property become available and accessible to the public through many recreation opportunities and some very limited commercial development. I think it's a great way to showcase some educational opportunities, particularly with Crayfish Creek. So I'm very excited about the master plan. I want to thank the community, our authority members, our consultant that helped us out, and of course our awesome city staff who helped us put that together and then see it adopted on Wednesday. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I'm actually going to go back to Mr. Hicks because I think he forgot something. So,
I did. Thank you, Mayor. So I do have one thing to report. This upcoming Monday, a week from today, it is MLK Day. And typically, I know schools are out and a lot of us are off from work. But again, it's a day to be on and not off. And so one thing that the Youth Council is doing is they're partnering with the North Gwinnett Co-op and offering a opportunity to donate some items that is well needed within the co-op. So it will be a drive-through service that will have volunteers from the co-op, from the Youth Council and some local schools out there to just take the items straight from your car at the co-op from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And there is a list of items, needed items on the website, as well as we'll be putting some, placing some flyers somewhere. So hopefully you'll come out to support the co-op. Thanks.
thank you, Mr. Hicks. Ms. Avery.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. And although this year is off to quite a start, we've had a variety of weather so far, from wind and rain to snow and ice. But once again, our Public Works Department has been outstanding in their work and efforts in our neighborhoods. And I hope that this new year will be one of opportunities, challenges, and rewards, as well as good health for our residents and their family and friends. As a city, we are beginning 2025 with a budget that reflects compromises and cost-saving measures to ensure the fiscal responsibility that the city owes to the residents. We have two major projects this year: the pedestrian bridge and updates to the gas regulation station, and hopefully those will be completed on time and on budget. My goals this year, as I start my second year on the council, are to the city continues to work to pay off debt, concentrate on low-density and affordable housing, and improve and add features to current and existing parks and green space. I hope residents will continue to stay informed of city meetings and events and take advantage of attending as many as possible. I'm always so pleased to see many residents at the meetings, and I think that's wonderful. An informed, concerned, and educated resident is so important, and I appreciate that. As well as going to the meetings, the city website has information, and you can sign up for the city's Snapchat newsletter as well. The city has many city meetings and events that I hope the residents can take advantage of, attending as many as possible. The future of our city is bright, and as a council, I hope we can work cooperatively this year to achieve smart growth, make the right financial decisions, and serve the residents in the best ways possible for the good of our community. And also, congratulations, Danica, and that ends my report.
Thank you, Ms. Avery. Mr. Page, you're up.
Sure.
next.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. I just do have one thing. Do want to thank our city staff once again, like several of us have already have. I think they did a fantastic job with our winter event. I appreciate the quick responses that we got out there and not a whole lot of issues. And the pre-treatment of our roads, I think, really kind of helped us as well for our side streets. So thank you to the city staff.
Thank you, Mr. Page, and I'll go next. Just one, mark your calendar. The Chattahoochee National Park Conservancy, they are organizing 2 work days at Crayfish Creek, which you have not, if you've not heard about that or not read about it, I would encourage you to do so. The 2 work days are January 18th from 9 until 1 p.m. And then January the 20th, they actually have it broken up into 2 parts, and you can do both parts, so you can just volunteer for one. But 8:30 until 11:30 a.m. and 12 until 3 p.m. And this is an important component of our conversations related to the Riverlands. Even though this is not our project, it is a pretty monumental and important project. We've had a lot of interaction over the last several years between the city and the organizations that have been responsible for this project. I have personally been to every volunteer day and intend to be there on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It is hard work. You're going to be moving boulders and wading in the stream, and it's not an easy work day, but I'd encourage you to, if you feel like you're able to get out there and to do that. You can find out information about it on the Chattahoochee National Park Conservancy website or on their Facebook page. And they do ask that you sign up in advance. They have some waivers and this and that they require for all of their volunteers. But just wanted to point that out to everybody. And that's it for me. I'll move on to our city clerk's report, Ms. Whittington.
Thank you, Mayor. A few numbers for 2024. The city issued 164 passports in the month of December with 139 photos taken. They also issued 1,966 passports for the year for 2024. And for the business licenses for December, there were 8 new licenses, even though the renewals were starting. There were 8 new ones, and for the year, there are 145 businesses in 2024 that are up for renewal, and 346 of those are home-based businesses. So those are a few numbers for you. The renewals are due by January 31st, and we should have some more numbers after then. Also, the City Hall will be closed on Monday, the 20th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Whittington. Next, I'll hand it over to the city manager for his reports.
Thank you, Mayor. I submit to the monthly review that was available when you come in. But I'd like to just follow up on those comments about our staff's work this past Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and even into Sunday. It was a collective effort. Certainly our Public Works Department does fantastic work. Our Recreation Department staff was here as well, keeping the East Center, it was not open, but we had to keep things around it so people wouldn't slip and fall. And then I know that Troy and several of us were here, but City Hall Complex, Tim Schick was here along with his staff as well. So it's just great to see the dedication of our staff when it comes to maintaining city assets and making sure that our citizens are safe as they travel on the roads. We get a lot of great compliments. How do we get that done? Not all cities can get that done, and for a city of our size, it's remarkable. Speaking of the East Center, the East Center now has over 22,500 members, which I think is very significant. And another key stat is during December, our downtown had 89,000 visitors. 89,000 visitors. Our lights attract a lot of people. The entertainment attracts a lot of people. So I just wanted to bring that up. And with that, I'd like to ask Troy, I know he has a PowerPoint presentation, to give us an update on Public Works and operations. And then after that, Chief King is going to give her annual report of our Marshal Service. With that, I'll turn it over to Troy.
Thank you, Mr. Radford. I will echo his comments to refer to the management report for some project-related updates, and you can find a few in there. And while my computer is still trying to connect, I will stall just a moment longer. And say that I will highlight a few of our Public Works staff's accomplishments at the end of the last week in preparation for the storm event. And while we're doing the waiting period, I'll say that one of the things that we are very proud of is being very economic and cost-conscious when it comes to some of the equipment we use very seldom in Sugar Hill and in the south. When we sold the old manual car wash up on the hill, we repurposed a lot of the equipment into our brine sprayer. So we were all in on the brine sprayer. It was truck mounted, but it was $160 that we invested in a brine sprayer. If we were to purchase one on the market, we could spend anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. So it was a good investment on our part for a piece that we don't use that often, but gets the job done. We hit a few of the tough spots that typically don't get enough sun during the winter months around Sugar Hill, and I will gladly show you in a minute what those look like and what the effects are. And yes, please. So I'll be very brief and show you a few of those. I do want to say that the staff was in on Thursday very early, and they pre-treated the roads for the anticipated freezing rain that was coming. And in accomplishing that, you'll see some of the effects of the pre-treatment process and what that does in preparation for the event here in a moment. And with that, they were also able to come in on Friday and with the plows get ready for the snow that had fallen. And so some examples, we worked with Gwinnett County and Georgia DOT, did some brining in advance of the storm event. So this is West Broad Street where the main travel lanes were treated. The parking lot and the parking spaces were not. You can see the effects of that. Alton Tucker, Highway 20, and then a broader shot of the downtown area with West Broad Street, Whitehead Road, and some of the other side streets that had been treated. So just we appreciate all the work that our public works staff did to prepare for the storm event. They came in very early on Friday, worked a full day, and then also came in on Saturday in the cleanup efforts associated with it. We didn't have as much in the way of strong winds as we anticipated, so that wasn't as big an issue. We did have some outages throughout the area, but not as widespread as we anticipated. As we're talking through the storm event, we did have to close some of our facilities, one of which we did close was the ice rink. Surprisingly, it's just tough to get people down there safely, so we chose to close it, but they have attracted some 20,000 guests to the downtown just in the short 8 to 10 weeks they've been open. They are open for about 4 more weeks, so I encourage you to, if you want to take a stab at ice skating, it's a great place to practice, learn, experience what that feels like. So they're open through Valentine's weekend, so it's a good place to try out your skating skills. And with that, one more quick project update, which is the road repairs and resurfacing project that has been advertised for bids. We do anticipate some additional funding becoming available, but we are going to go ahead and advertise these 15 streets as a part of the program, which we mentioned last fall, and it is advertised on the website, Gwinnett Daily Post, and on the Georgia Procurement Registry. And with that, I'd like to ask Chief King to provide a brief update on Marshals Service 2024 report.
Mayor, City Council, good evening. I'll try to keep this brief. Our actual report is 15 pages. I think I've got it down to 5 minutes. As we close out another year of dedicated service, the Sugar Hill Marshals Department reflects on our ongoing commitment to the safety and well-being of our community. Serving a city of over 28,000 residents spread across 11.29 square miles, with thousands of commuters passing through each day, our department continues to prioritize a community of policing approach that fosters strong relationships with both residents and businesses. In addition to our proactive engagement efforts, we have responded to numerous calls for service and provided essential support to the Gwinnett County Police Department, ensuring that Sugar Hill remains a safe and thriving community for all. We are currently staffed with 9 full-time marshals, ensuring citywide coverage 7 days a week. Additionally, we are supported by 8 reserve marshals who have collectively volunteered 939 hours to assist the city. Over the course of this year, or 2024, the Sugar Hill Marshal's Office logged an impressive 21,859 activities, demonstrating our commitment to maintaining a safe and secure environment. Among these activities, marshals conducted 4,082 business checks, 3,896 residential checks, 7,509 checks on city properties. Additionally, 103 citations were issued, which included parking violations and warnings. The Sugar Hill Marshal's Department enjoys a strong and collaborative relationship with the Gwinnett County Police Department, marked by seamless cooperation and mutual support. This partnership allows both agencies to effectively address the needs of the community, particularly when it comes to responding to calls for service. The ease with which the marshals and Gwinnett County Police work together is a testament to their shared commitment to serving the community effectively and efficiently. We did a little breakdown of our 21,859 activities, and percentage-wise, our citations were 0.5%. Business checks, 18.7, residential checks, 17.8, city property checks, 34.4, and then we had other activities, which was 28.7. Other activities include critical tasks such as training, routine patrolling, community outreach, and supporting the Gwinnett County Police Department with calls for service within Sugar Hill city limits. Through these efforts, the department enhances public safety, builds community relationships, and strengthens interagency collaboration, ensuring a proactive approach to addressing the city's needs. Throughout the year, we actively engaged with the community through a variety of events aimed at strengthening relationships and promoting safety. Leading these efforts, Marshal Michael Parker played a pivotal role in organizing and executing most of these initiatives. His leadership was instrumental in ensuring that the department's presence was felt across the city. Additionally, Marshal Sanford made significant contributions, particularly in events focused on educational outreach. We have 4 elementary schools inside the city limits of Sugar Hill, 1 middle school and 1 high school, with a combined student faculty population of over 7,300. The Sugar Hill Marshals maintain a strong partnership with the Gwinnett County School Police. Together, we conduct comprehensive active shooter lockdown drills, ensuring that both students and staff are well prepared to respond effectively in the event of an emergency. Beyond safety measures, the marshals play an active role in supporting school events, further strengthening their bond with students and faculty by engaging directly with students during school functions. The marshals build positive relationships, reinforcing the idea that law enforcement is not only there for protection, but also as a supportive presence within their community. The department also played a critical role in delivering active shooter presentations at Fox Factory, SJ Technologies, and Gwinnett Church. The Marshals Department engagement extended beyond schools and into the broader community. One of the highlights of this year was their participation in the Touch a Truck event, which allowed residents to interact with law enforcement and other first responders in a fun, hands-on environment. We also partnered with other law enforcement agencies for National Night Out and Faith in Blue events. The Marshals' commitment to community service also extended to more personalized initiatives. They conducted car seat installations for expectant mothers and grandparents. Their youth empowerment program was another key initiative, focusing on equipping young people with essential life skills that they could apply in their daily lives. Additionally, the Marshals Department partnered with the World Asian Law Enforcement Council, a collaboration aimed at strengthening the relationship between the Asian community and law enforcement in Sugar Hill. We want to thank everyone in the community for their donations of our toy drive, because during the Christmas holiday, we organized a toy drive to provide gifts to lower-income families. And this year, the Peachtree Mobile Home Park wanted to partner with us, when we had a special event and distributed all the toys to families in need. Overall, the Marshals Department has demonstrated a deep commitment to the city of Sugar Hill through their wide-ranging community outreach efforts. Their work has not only enhanced public safety, but also fostered a stronger, more connected community. For our training, we completed over 975 hours of training, ensuring that our team stays informed on current trends and best practices within the law enforcement profession. Each marshal is required to complete 20 hours of training annually, to maintain their peace officer certification. These 20 hours include essential topics such as firearms proficiency, community policing, introduction to gangs, use of force, de-escalation techniques, and human trafficking. These training requirements established by the governor are designed to better equip our officers to respond effectively to a wide range of situations, enhancing their ability to serve and protect our community. As we conclude this year's reflection on the accomplishments and ongoing efforts of the Sugar Hill Marshals Department, it is clear that our commitment to the safety and well-being of our community remains unwavering. From the extensive operations that safeguard our city daily to the meaningful community outreach initiatives that build trust and connection, every aspect of our work is driven by a deep dedication to public service. As we move forward, we will continue to prioritize the values of professionalism, collaboration, and community engagement, ensuring that the city of Sugar Hill remains a place where residents and businesses thrive in a safe and supportive environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief King. Thank you, Mr. Redford. All right, next we'll move on to our Youth Council report.
Good evening.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. As Councilmember Alvin Hicks stated, we do have a donation drive going on Martin Luther King Day. We're partnering with the boys lacrosse team from my school. It's really close to me because I'm the only person on youth council who's from North Gwinnett. But the drive would include laundry detergent, dish soap, shampoo, toothpaste, feminine pads, diced tomatoes, peanut butter, spaghetti sauce, spaghetti noodles, and hamburger helper. The North Gwinnett Co-op specifically wants this in their place just because they're low on for these things to donate. And then the event will be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on January 20th. And then we have Champion Tree updates.
Good evening, guys. The Youth Council will be revamping Champion Tree after the winter storm, resetting rocks, repositioning them, cleaning up the area, and then touching up the paint on the little library. We encourage folks around the city to pick up a lock and lock onto the red heart structure that we have down there at the Champion Tree, and the locks are found downstairs. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, next we'll move on to citizens and guests' comments. This is an opportunity. If you have something that you'd like to talk about related to Sugar Hill, you're welcome to come up. Each person has up to 3 minutes. I do want to say, though, that if there's an item that you're here specifically that has a public hearing associated with it, I would encourage you, obviously you can speak at any time, but we would encourage you to speak when we have the public hearing for that specific item. So is there anybody that would like to take advantage of the citizens and guest comments tonight? All right, I'm going to move on then. We're going to go to old business now, and that is public hearing RZ-24-004, and I'm going to recognize the planning staff to start the process on that.
Thank you, Mayor. Just 1 second, please.
Yes, sir. Take your time.
Those people. Oh, it isn't. Thank you, Mayor and Council, and good evening. I'm Gen X, so technology sometimes is a little challenging for me. I appreciate that. So the first item we have for council's consideration tonight is RZ 24004. This is an application that I know all the council is familiar with. This has some history, and we'll go through that in just a moment. Excuse me 1 second. Gotta get this. All right, apologies for that, Mayor and Council. So again, it's RZ 24004, which is 1036 and 1040 Whitehead Road. Parcels R7306-009 and R7306-111. So just to give a brief update on the timeline of this application, in August 19, 2024, the Planning Commission held a public hearing and recommended tabling the item until site plan could be reviewed. On September 2nd, 2024, the City Council authorized legal counsel to begin drafting an MOU with the Sugar Hill DDA for the city-owned parcels represented on the site plan. On September 9th, 2024, City Council unanimously voted to table the review and public hearing to the October 14th, 2024 meeting and remand the application back to the Planning Commission for the September 16th, 2024 meeting. September 16th, the Planning Commission voted 302 to recommend denial of the request. On October 14th, 2024, City Council votes 3-2 to approve the rezoning and expansion of the CBD with amended conditions. October 21st, Mayor Hembry vetoed the approval with amended conditions. December 9th, 2024, Mayor Hembry's veto held. The case was tabled by City Council and remanded back to Planning Commission with an updated site plan and revised conditions by staff. Additional public hearings were called for at the December Planning Commission and January Council meetings. December 16th, 2024, the Planning Commission held an additional public hearing, and the Planning Commission voted 3-2 to recommend approval of the rezoning with staff's conditions. And Mayor, Council, you can see the parcels that are the subject parcels that are up for consideration outlined in the purple. Again, the parcels that are up for consideration are outlined in the teal color with the adjacent parcels and their respective zonings that are adjacent. And Mayor, Council, you can see here outlined in red is the overall portion of the project to include the purple that is up for consideration this evening to the west. And Mayor and Council, the area that is highlighted or bounded in yellow are the city-owned parcels. And here is the survey of the property. Mayor, Council, here is the rendering of the portion of the project that is up for consideration this evening, which is the western portion of the project. And here, Mayor and Council, you can see the overall project. Here are some renderings of the proposed homes that would go on the project. Mayor and Council, for the staff recommend approval of the request to rezone the 4.61 acres as described at 1036 and 1040 Whitehead Road to RS 100 and expound the boundaries of the Central Business District with the following conditions. The development shall substantially conform to the site plan, Exhibits 1 through 2, submitted with the application, particularly regarding its general features, placement, and alignments. However, the alterations necessary to accommodate requirements from the design review process and developers' response to meet market demand are permitted. Said final site plan shall contain parcels R7306-017 and be consistent with these two exhibits, parcel R7306-015, 016, 018, 019, 020, and 021 are owned by the City of Sugar Hill, and any development of said parcels will require future action by City Council. The buffers against parcels R7306-011A, 1056 Whitehead Road, and R7306-008, 1030 Whitehead Road shall be no less than 15 feet, including a 5-foot landscape strip adjacent to the property line, substantially landscaped, and provide suitable screening subject to review and approval by the planning director. All alleys, parking areas, sidewalks, streetlights, common area landscaping, and private stormwater infrastructure shall be privately owned and maintained by the Homeowners Association, the HOA. The recorded covenants specifying maintenance of the infrastructure shall be provided to the city prior to approval of the final plat. Developers shall establish a capital reserve fund with a minimum balance of $50,000 for the HOA to use for the future maintenance thereof prior to certificate of occupancy for 50% of the homes. The cost of all stormwater management facilities shall be paid for by the developer. Density of the project shall not exceed 157 units as depicted in Exhibit 2 and shall be limited to 7 units per acre on the subject properties. On-street parking shall not be allowed on Whitehead Road. At least 3 natural gas appliances shall be installed within each residential unit prior to a certificate of occupancy. Covenant shall stipulate that no more than 10% of the total number of homes or dwelling units, are allowed to be leased at any one time located on the subject properties. No direct vehicular connection shall be provided from Bailey Avenue to Whitehead Road per the site plan Exhibits 1 through 2. Mr. Mayor, that concludes our report for this item.
Thank you, appreciate it. I think that's mostly a repeat from our work session, but are there any questions or comments from City Council before I open up the public hearing? All right, then we'll move forward with the public hearing, and as we always do, we have 2 tiers. We start with those that might wish to speak in favor of the project. We allocate 10 minutes for that. And then we'll go to those that might wish to speak against or express concern. And we also have 10 minutes allocated for that portion as well. And Mr. Hartley and Ms. Whittington are going to help me with the time. And I just want to remind everybody there is a time limit. And we do that to be fair to everybody. And so, again, just appreciate everybody being here that's going to be speaking on this. We will start with the time for those that wish to speak in support, and it looks like the applicant is here. Please come forward and just give your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'm David Smith. I reside at 5665 Windy Ridge Drive, Atlanta, Georgia 30342, and I'm not a resident of Sugar Hill. I'm here with this evening with Pam Sessions and Don Donnelly, the owners and founders of Pitchwood Homes, and Mr. John Mansour, Whitehead Road Investments. He's the property owner and applicant. We wish to highlight the work we've done over the past several months as we've worked through this rezoning and site planning and in our efforts to address and respond to the concerns and requests made by both the Planning Commission, the council, and residents who've expressed concerns. I don't want to reiterate everything Mr. Newell has highlighted regarding the existing conditions that we're in agreement with. What I do want to do, though, is just highlight a few of the site plan and subject parcels, a few of the things that we've worked on to try to come together with something that everyone can be happy with. First, the number of homes has been reduced from 53 to 32 new homes on the parcels for the subject of the rezoning, which is 7 units per acre. All of the new homes now have a 2-car garage except for 3 cottage homes. And there's 38 surface parking spaces for these 3 homes, as well as the guest parking for the common areas and amenities. And this you can see on the Exhibit 1 in the report, which is the site plan for the subject parcels. We agreed to eliminate the Bailey Avenue vehicular connection to Whitehead Road through the rezoning parcels per the council's recommended condition. Number 4 is noted in the council's public hearing on October 14th, 2024. And we're proposing a 15-foot building setback, including a 5-foot landscape strip adjacent to the property line of the existing homes located at 1030 and 1056 Whitehead Road. Further, council's recommended action, again, is numbers 5 and 6, as noted at the council's public hearing on the 14th, 2024. And one of the biggest, revisions to the site plan for this subject properties is the amount of green space. It's been increased to approximately 0.94 acres, which is 20.4% of the overall 4.61 acres. And now regarding the site plan of the overall proposed project, which is shown on Exhibit 2, the total number of new homes has been reduced from 180 to 157 homes. The 7,500 square feet of commercial space has been eliminated. The city-owned adjacent parcels at West Broad and Whitehead are now shown as a city park and green space. The proposed new homes that we were showing before, located on the city-owned parcels, have been eliminated. The on-street parking along Whitehead Road has been eliminated. And again, that's per council's recommended condition on number 10, as noted at the council's meeting on October 14th, 2024. And lastly, we've increased the amount of the common area and green space and private gardens for each home, as the number of attached homes has been decreased and the number of detached homes with 2-car garages has increased. And overall, as a result of this lengthy review and public hearing process for the rezoning, we believe we have before you this evening a better plan for a vibrant, livable, and walkable new home development that will enhance downtown Sugar Hill. And, lastly, one thing I'd like to point out is, from our perspective, it's become practically impossible for our housing industry to provide desirable new housing choices at a price that's attainable for new home buyers in need of housing. Not everyone can afford $1 million home, and that's where we're headed without allowing developments like we're proposing. And, we're offering a variety of house size, price points, and it's architecturally driven. Number of homes is predicated on not just financial underwriting, but working through the architecture and providing a superior product for the city of Sugar Hill. And with that, we thank you for your staff, your planning commission, your council, staff's time and consideration for the petition, and we're respectfully requesting approval of petition RZ 24-004 in accordance with the site plan and staff conditions per the staff report as enumerated by Mr. Neal. Thank you for your time. I'd like to reserve the remaining time. I believe we should have about 5 or 6 minutes for rebuttal and follow-up questions.
All right, any questions of the applicant? All right, how much time do we have left in this category, Mr. Hartley?
5 minutes and 2 seconds.
All right, we have 5 minutes and 2 seconds. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in support of the application before us? All right, we will have 5 minutes and 2 seconds left for rebuttal or to answer questions at the end. All right, next we'll move on to the 10 minutes for those that might wish to speak against or to express concern about the project. And I will recognize that first individual if they'd like to come up. Yes, and you know the drill.
Yes,
Yes,
Amber
ma'am.
Chambers, 809 Whitehead Road. So I'm completely opposed to this project, both in terms of the project itself and the way that both the city and the developer approached it. The initial application came in on July 30th. You are required, when you ask for a rezoning, to submit an application completed, and also a letter of intent and a site plan. We did not get a letter of intent until 2 months after that, on September 30th. At no time did the city really seem to be uptight about that, even though in the rezoning packet, these requirements are stated explicitly. We actually also have a checklist that the city is supposed to go through to make sure all of these materials have been submitted. When I asked to get a copy of that in August, after the first Planning Commission hearing, that document did not exist. For some reason, they did not do that. The site plans did not start coming in until much later. All through this process, while there was missing information, the city's planning department was publishing staff reports that recommended approval, even though they did not indicate what the project actually was beyond saying it was a future single-family development. I don't think that that level of secrecy, I've been watching the city government for about 5.5 years now. I have never seen the city do that. I've never seen any other city do that. It was very strange, that entire approach. And I think that that kind of revealed maybe that they thought that this project was not going to get a lot of public support. So as far as the project itself, on the December 16th Planning Commission hearing, the developer actually said, and I have it on a recording, that it was still to be determined whether there would be commercial in the park. It's not shown on the site plan, but he said that that was still to be determined. And if you're going to put commercial on that, he also said that they did not have any intention to buy the property. So that puts the city again in the position of being a landlord for these commercial properties, which I'm not in favor of. And it also kind of eats into the green space, which I thought this Champion Tree Park was supposed to be all about. As far as the project itself, that main entrance still is on Whitehead Road. And even though it follows what he referred to as a more circuitous route, it is still a direct connection between Highway 20 and Whitehead Road that people will use. And not to mention the 157 people in the development, that out of the 157 units, they're going to be coming out of that main entrance probably more often than not. So that's a problem. It's too dense. Even with 157 units on the 15 acres, I think it's too dense. It's also a lot taller, potentially, than your RS-100. I think RS-100 is 35 feet, if I can think off the top of my head. I know they had said in that letter of intent they were thinking about 35 to 43 feet for these units. And if you look at Exhibit 1 in the top left-hand corner, it says that the maximum height that they're looking is 50 feet. And so those things are going to tower over the neighboring houses. Also, the value's just not in keeping with the surrounding area, and these are single-family homes and could end up on a comp list for my house. And I don't want one of these $800,000 homes or anything like that affecting my property tax values. And I'm afraid that that will happen and price other people out of the neighborhood. And I'm probably one of the bigger houses on Whitehead Road. So for those reasons, I'm just not in favor of this.
Thank you, Ms. Chambers. How much time do we have left, Mr. Hartley? All right, is there anybody else that wishes to take advantage of the time left in this category? Yes, sir. Mr. Schultz,
Oh, man, you knew my name.
but you still have to do it. yeah.
350 Windswept Trace, Sugar Hill, Georgia. Just a couple of problems with this whole thing. This Champion Tree, the minute you start disturbing any soil anywhere around those roots that shoot out, God, I can't even imagine. From what I understand, root systems go way bigger than what the bounty of the tree is. And that one shot we're looking at there with the little circle, which I'm assuming is a champion tree, someone's disturbing that root system on that tree. More than likely, y'all are talking about clear cutting everything around it, so that's going to be disturbing that whole area. So there's a good possibility, I don't know if you've talked to an arborist or not, but that tree probably will not make it through all this fun. Second problem I got is, why are we turning over city-owned property in a weird way over to Downtown Development Authority to let this project go through? None of that makes any sense. And it just doesn't smell right, let's put it that way. The third thing I got to say is, we did Envision 101. What did they want? What did the people say? Less density. And we're doing the exact opposite. I say no to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. How much time do we have left, Mr. Hartley?
4 minutes and 58 seconds.
All right. Anybody else wish to take advantage of the time that we have left? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Karen Carney. I live at 6078 Peerless Avenue here in Sugar Hill. I also own 1125 Whitehead Road in Sugar Hill, which is directly across from the Champion Tree Park. As a business owner, I probably should be in support of this project, but in looking out for my neighbors and my community, I am not. As I have some concerns, as has been addressed previously, about the density of the project. I was so excited to hear that we were going to try and save the Champion Tree and put a park there, but looking at this plan, I do see encroachment onto the park. I also have concern with the traffic on Whitehead Road from that prominent entrance that's going to go connect most of the subdivision into Whitehead Road. I also look at this as an opportunity that the city has to provide green space to hold community events. I look at communities like Swanee as an example, where when you have this big green space, you draw people to your community, and then they shop in the businesses in the community. When I look at this, if we're going to have that much density and that tall of a building right next to the park, it's not going to be as enjoyable of a park as what we imagine, because it's going to be in the shade of these houses. Has there been any traffic studies for this 157 units on land that was currently low density? And what is the benefit to the city for their property to encroach on city land? That's just kind of a question I have there. So I am not in support of this project.
Thank you. Mr. Hartley, how much time do we have left? All right. Anybody else wish to take advantage of the time that we have left? All right. I'm going to close that portion of the time. There is some remaining time left for rebuttal. If the applicant wishes to come forward, it's their choice. Mr. Hartley, remind us how much time we have left. Okay.
Am I down
Proceed.
to what? Okay, thank you. Just a couple of comments. As far as the city-owned property, at one of the prior meetings, I did say that, we're not in negotiations with the city to attempt to purchase the city-owned properties. It may someday, depending on how the council wants to proceed with the use of those properties, ultimately go some commercial use. We don't know. We've not made that part of our plan, and it's not dependent on that. We are dependent on, obviously, we have to have an access to the development. And what Mr. Donnelly and I were just conferring about is, if the Whitehead Road entrance is still an issue, perhaps the primary entrance could be off of West Broad, but that will require working with the city to accomplish that. I'm not sure how we can have a new home development or any type of development without adequate access. And as it relates to traffic, I said this a few times before, the three of us are in our developments every day. I mean, every day, and from beginning to the end, and even after they're finished, going back and, meeting with owners and doing different things. And for whatever reason, we just see much lower traffic in and out. Our residents, a lot of them appear to work from home. Some of them don't work. And we haven't done a traffic study. We just don't feel like it's really been an issue for the way we develop with mixed housing types and different appeal to a variety of home buyers that aren't car dependent. And as far as the building height, this is our best guess. We put the maximum on there because, in the event towards the center or the core of the project, someone wanted a taller home with rooftop terrace, then we wanted to be covered there. But actually, as far as the closest the closest homes to the tree there that we're all concerned about, most of those are the lower height cottage-style homes. And lastly, we are showing some of the homes edging onto the city property. That's more from an architecture and an aesthetic to try to create a little more organic design and layout of the homes in that area. If that's not something we can work out with the city, that's an easy fix. Just bring them off, so that there will remain a straight property line between our property and the city properties. That's really, I'm here, we're here. If you've got other questions, we'd be glad to answer them. But can't think of anything else I'd like to respond to at this time.
I appreciate you coming back up. We are going to close the public hearing for this particular item, and I'll just ask if there are any last-minute questions from City Council before I ask if there is a motion. All right, is there a motion?
Mayor, I'd make a motion to deny. I think the density is too great, and I don't want to see the town center overlay or downtown continue to creep down Whitehead Road without restriction. I think there's still too many homes abutting what's RS 100 and RS 150 property, so motion to deny.
All right, I have a motion to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Purple, a second from Ms. Avery to deny. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All right, all those opposed, like sign. Thank you, Ms. Whittington. All right, we'll move on now to new business. Item number 2, and that is design review 25-001. And I'll recognize the Planning Department staff for that presentation.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. The next item we have is DRB TCO 25001 at 5017 Spring Hill Drive. And council may remember this item from last week's work session. This is a request for a design review for an attached carport via breezeway to a new home. You can see the parcel outlined in purple with the adjacent zonings. Mr. Mayor and Council, this is showing the front, side, and rear elevation of the home with the proposed carport. Again, the carport would be attached via breezeway. The side setback requirement is 10 feet, and this setback is 11.6 feet. Mr. Mayor and Council, you can see this overhead view showing the existing home with the outline of the entirety of the lot with the proposed new carport. And this is an overhead view of the same. Mr. Mayor and Council, the existing home went under design review fairly recently. These are some of the renderings, some of the treatments that were used for the existing home and were approved as such. And Mr. Mayor and Council, the staff recommendation is approval of the site plan and buildings in material and architectural detail with the following conditions. The final design shall substantially resemble the attached exhibits labeled Exhibits 1 through 4, and all materials and colors shall match those of the existing home. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you, Mr. Newell. Are there any questions of City Council before I move on to the public hearing? Yes, Mr.
I have
Perkle.
one. You mentioned, but I was still trying to catch up on the diagrams and didn't quite see where you illustrated, but you mentioned setbacks. All the setbacks that you mentioned, those meet the requirements with no variances?
No variances needed.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Perkle. Any other questions of staff? All right, we will move on to the public hearing portion. We'll do this one like we did the last one. We'll start with 10 minutes for those that wish to speak in support of the application. Is the applicant or anybody here that'd like to come forward? Yes, thank you. And please just give your name and address for the record, and we thank you for being here.
Mike Dodson, Stacy Dodson, we're at 6079 Chadburn Ferry Road in Beaufort. We're obviously the ones flipping this home and decided to add a simple carport to add to the value and give somebody a place to be able to get to their house without getting wet. It is going to be attached. I apologize, the original drawings weren't clear on how that was attached, so hopefully the drawings we submitted last week after the work session cleared that up. So we're just here to answer any questions that y'all would have.
Any questions of the applicant while we have them up front? Yes, sir, Mr. Perkle.
You mentioned you're from Beaufort and that you're flipping the home. So do you intend to sell to an individual owner or to an investor, or no preference, or?
Well, honestly, we'd love to keep it for ourselves, but no, we're also real estate agents, so we do plan to put it on the market as soon as we're done with the home and sell it, hopefully to a family would be preferred.
Primary residence is our hope, but we can't.
Yeah, I think the price range we're looking at, it's going to be a primary home, but obviously we can't control that.
Right, thank you.
All right, thank you for the question, Mr. Perkle. Anybody else? All right, thank you. Mr. Hartley, how much time do we have left in this category? We have a lot of time. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak in support of the application? All right, we will close that out, and we will move on to the 10 minutes for those that might wish to speak in opposition or express concern about the application. Is there anybody that falls into that category? All right, I see nobody, so we will close that, and I don't think there's a need to call the applicant back up. So I will close the public hearing, and I'll ask if there are any last-minute questions from City Council before I call for a motion. All right, is there a motion?
Mayor, I would make a motion to approve the carport addition to this residence for TCO Design Review 25-001.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Perkle. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Page.
Mayor.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can I clarify if the motion includes the two staff conditions?
Thank you. Yes, they absolutely do.
All right, I have a good motion by Mr. Perkle, second by Mr. Page. Any further discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All right, thank you. Next, we'll move on to item number 3. That is the Mayor Pro Tem appointment. As I mentioned during our work session, our charter provides for a Mayor Pro Tem to serve a 2-year term chosen by City Council during an odd year. And so my challenge to you all was to come up with someone that would like to serve as the Mayor Pro Tem. And I've been told no name up at this point, so it's going to be a surprise to me. But is there anybody that wishes to make a motion to nominate somebody to be the Mayor Pro Tem?
Mayor, I would nominate Josh Page.
Okay. I have a motion for Mr. Page, and I think that would be excellent, by the way. Is there a second? Second. All right, all those in favor of Mr. Page serving as the Mayor Pro Tem for a 2-year term, please raise your right hand. All right. And if you don't mind, I'm actually prepared to swear you in. If you could come over here to this microphone, we'll just do it up here, make it easy. And I'll give you that just for reference. And if you could, just raise your right hand and just repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joshua Page,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Georgia,
the Constitution of the State of Georgia,
the Charter and ordinances of the City of Sugar Hill,
the Charter and Ordinance of the City of Sugar Hill,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform the duties
faithfully perform the duties
of the office of Mayor Pro Tem
of the office of Mayor Pro Tem
during my continuance therein.
during my continuance therein.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Mr. Page does not know this, but I'm about to go on vacation, so I'm going to hand it over to you to do the meeting. Are you ready? All right, congratulations. I'm excited to get to serve with you in that way over the next couple of years. It's going to be great. All right, next we'll move on to item number 4. That is the Downtown Development Authority reappointments, and that is Councilmember Anderson's item, and I'll hand that over to him.
Thank you, Mayor. I worked with Jack Wolf, who's the chairman of the Downtown Development Authority, to poll the members whose terms were expiring to find out their intent to continue to serve, and that would be posts 1 through 4, that being post 1, Tim Ross, post 2, Mason Rosel, post 3, Alan Jorgensen, and post 4, Jonathan Chang. They all expressed desire to continue to serve on the Downtown Development Authority, and all have done a great job for our DDA. So with that, I submit their names to be reappointed to posts 1 through 4.
All right, any questions of Mr. Anderson? Yes, Ms. Avery.
Yes, I have something to say. Is that in a form of a motion to reappoint or
No,
just
ma'am,
nominate?
I've not called for a motion yet, but we will once we get to a point after everybody has
Perfect.
questions.
The point that I would like to make is that according to our city attorney, there is no city policy requiring council members to reappoint board and/or authority members based on their desire of that member to serve another term. The city council is under no obligation to reappoint a board or authority member. Their terms have ended, and those posts are now available for both current and new members. I respectfully request that this council consider these reappointments request in addition to new nominations.
Thank you, Ms. Avery. I'll defer to the attorney here, but I believe that we have this presented as a slate on our agenda. It doesn't matter to me whether we do them individually or not, but I'll ask what your opinion on that is.
Either way is fine. You can do them as a slate or you can do them individually. It's up to the council whether you want to go through each post and make nominations for each post, or if you want to do a slate, a motion, a second, and vote that way. Either way is acceptable. It's just whatever the council desires.
Mr. Hartley, who makes that decision about whether or not to do it as a slate or individually?
I mean, I think you could, as the presiding officer, or the majority of the council could make that decision.
All right, that sounds fine. I actually have no problem with breaking them up into the individual posts. So let's do it that way. Yes, sir. Mr. Page.
My only, I guess, concern and comment is if we're going to break them out into posts. I know we've circulated names between us for both this agenda item and an additional agenda item later. I'm not sure if we want more time, if we can push it to next month, if that'd be more appropriate so we know exactly who's at what post and which, if that's a huge concern of exactly who we're nominating for what post. So
I mean,
I'll defer to you.
I think we could wait till February. I don't see a need to. I mean, let's just go ahead and take action on the individual posts. What I'm going to do is then we're going to take each post individually, and I want Mr. Anderson, if you don't mind, just to again state who is currently serving and whatever information that you might want to add. And then what I'll do is I'll ask if there are nominations for each of the posts, and then we'll take a vote on that, okay, for each post. Mr. Anderson, post 1.
Mayor, I nominate Tim Ross, who's current treasurer. He also is an employee at North Point Hospitality, which is an East Center tenant.
All right, I have a motion. Sorry, excuse me. Again, y'all just be patient with me because there's a lot of moving parts to this. I'm going to do the best I can. So I'm just going to slow it down just a little bit. I have a nomination for Tim Ross for post 1. Is there another nomination? All right, I hear no nomination for post, no additional nomination for post 1 for Tim Ross. And so I'll just ask if there is Mr. Hartley, you're going to have to explain to me how to do this. Do I ask if there is a motion for Mr. Ross?
I think you could just take a vote now to confirm him.
Okay, so all those in favor of Mr. Ross continuing to serve, please raise your right hand. Okay. All right, next we'll move on to post 2, same process.
Thank you, Mayor. For post 2, I nominate Mason Rosel. Mason has served on the DDA for a number of years, also as a past city council member, and is a resident of the Town Center overlay. He lives not far from Sugar Hill Elementary School, and as a long-time contributor, young leader in our community, and has done a fantastic job on the Downtown Development Authority.
All right, I have a nomination for Mason Rosel for post 2. Is there an additional nomination for post 2?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to nominate Gary Perkle. For the past 10 or 15 years, we have had a council member on the DDA up until 2024, and I believe that it is very important to have a council member on the DDA, so therefore I am nominating Gary Perkle.
All right, so we have 2 nominations, and I'll start with the nomination for Mason Rosel, since that was the first one presented. All those in favor of Mason Rosel continuing to serve, please raise your right hand. All right. All those in favor of, and I guess this is how I'll do it, Mr. Hartley. All those in favor of Gary Perkle serving, please raise your right hand. All right. And I'm going to take a moment here to announce that I am going to veto that action, and I'm going to tell you why. It is our job as leaders to find places for people to lead and serve in our community. Mason, unfortunately, was on the back end of an election that he lost, and Mason has served well on the DDA since that time. And he served well as a liaison for the DDA when he was a city council member. For me, it's the wrong thing to do to remove somebody just because I don't know why, to be honest with you. It's hard for me to fathom why we would want to take away again somebody's opportunity to serve when they've served well and they have a desire to continue serving. And so based on that, obviously I serve with Mr. Perkle, have the utmost respect for Mr. Perkle, but I'm going to stand firm and stand up for people, again, that do a good job serving in the community and that want to continue to do so. So thank you for that. Mr. Perkle, that's not a debatable item. You got, there's no comments to my veto remarks. I actually don't have to give a veto remark for an administrative veto, but I just wanted to make it very apparent that, again, I don't have any concern with Mr. Perkle, but I do have a concern with just arbitrarily moving someone from a board when they've done a great job for our city. All right, so next we're going to move on to post number 3.
Mayor, I'll nominate Alan Jorgensen. He is probably the longest serving of any of our board members on any authority, commission, or otherwise. Longtime downtown property owner, was the part owner of the North Gwinnett Dental facility until he and his wife sold that not too long ago. Alan is a fantastic individual. He volunteers on our Broad Street Band and is obviously a mentor to many of our downtown businesses, given that he has served on the Downtown Development Authority probably for over 20 years.
All right, I have a nomination for Alan Jorgensen for post 3. Is there an additional nomination?
Mayor, I'll nominate Gary Perkle for post 3.
I don't know how somebody could be nominated for 2 positions when there's one that's pending potentially a city council override. So I'll refer to Mr. Hartley on that.
Mayor, because Mr. Perkle was not appointed to post 2 because of the veto, I think he could still be appointed to a different position. And then obviously, if the veto stands, he would not be able to be, he couldn't be appointed to more than one position. So then obviously, somebody else would have to be nominated at a later time.
That sounds good. I was just asking for clarification. So we have a nomination, we have 2 nominations, one for Alan Jorgensen and one for Gary Perkle. And I'll start with Mr. Jorgensen. All those in favor of reappointing Mr. Jorgensen, please raise your right hand. All right, all those opposed, all those that would wish to appoint Gary Perkle to the post, please raise your right hand. I didn't see the hands, if you'd call it. All right, I'm going to veto that one as well for the same reason. All right, next we'll move on to post 4.
Mayor, in the interest of time, I'm going to make a motion to table the DDA appointments until February.
Mr. Anderson, we already have 3 appointments that have been made, and I have vetoed 2 of them, so we cannot table all of them. They're up for city council override in February or potentially in March. Mr. Hartley, correct me if I'm wrong, but
That would be correct, Mayor. We could only table posts 4 and 5, which are the 2 remaining posts. If you wanted to table those until February, you could table those.
it's up to you, Mr. Anderson.
All right, well, then on post 4, I'll nominate Jonathan Chang. Jonathan Chang is a downtown business owner. He also is the owner of Sweet City Smiles in the East Center. He's been a member of he's one of the first tenants of the East Center, has been a very good tenant, and has been a long-serving member of the DDA.
All right, I have a nomination for Jonathan Chang for post 4. Is there another nomination? All right, I hear no other nomination. All those in favor of Jonathan Chang, please raise your right hand. All right, Jonathan Chang is reappointed. All right, next we'll move on to item number 5, and that is the new appointment post for post 5. Mr. Anderson, I believe that's you.
Mayor, for post 5 that has been vacated by Suzanne Nickel, I would nominate Amy Cook. Amy Cook is a longtime member of our community, has volunteered and been a constant presence in our downtown, actually has done several social media posts on our downtown businesses, and is in general one of the very fine members of our community who donates a lot of time to our city. So I nominate Ms. Amy Cook to post 5.
All right, I have a nomination for Amy Cook. Is there an additional nomination?
Yes, Mayor, I will nominate Gary Perkle.
All right, I have a nomination for Amy Cook and for Gary Perkle. And we're going to take Amy Cook first because she was the first one nominated. So all those in favor of Amy Cook, please signify by raising your right hand. All right, Amy Cook is appointed to post 5. Next, we'll move on to the Riverlands Authority reappointments for post 2, 3, 4. Mr. Anderson, that's you as well.
Thank you, Mayor. I can do these individually in the interest of...
Yes, that's what we're going to do.
All right, post 2, Sherry Imai. Sherry is a resident of the Twin Creek subdivision, which is adjacent to the property, the Riverlands Authority property. She is a longtime serving member of her HOA and is a local real estate agent, and she has been a fantastic member of our Riverlands Authority serving our community.
All right, I have one nomination so far for post 2, and that is Sherry Imai. Is there an additional nomination?
Mayor, I would nominate Andrew Schultz.
All right, I have an additional nomination for Andrew Schultz. All right, so we'll start with Ms. Imai. All those in favor of the nomination of Sherry Imai, please raise your right hand. All right. All those in favor of Andrew Schultz, please raise your right hand. All right, same thing as before. I'm going to veto that. And I'll add a little bit of additional clarity to this. All of the Development Authority members have served only 2 years. So even though they're 4-year terms, when we started it 2 years ago, we had to stagger those terms. These individuals all care about green space, they care about the outdoors, and they were appointed, honestly, after a public search because of the excitement that they have for all of that green space out in our part of the community. And so, again, as I said before, when somebody serves well, then it's our opportunity to allow them to continue to serve in those positions. I'm going to say that over and over and over. It's not right to remove somebody without giving them a reason why they're being removed. That's just politics. And these are people that are our neighbors, and I'm just not going to treat somebody like Sherry like that. And so I'm going to veto that as well. All right, next we'll move on to post 3, Mr. Anderson.
Mayor, post 3, I currently am serving in that position as the board liaison from the City Council, and am willing to continue on in that service.
All right, so Councilmember Anderson has essentially nominated himself, which is fine. Is there an additional nomination? All right, I hear none. All those in favor of Councilmember Anderson continuing to serve, please raise your right hand. All right, next we'll move on to post 4, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor. Post 4 is currently held by Lexi Krausen. Lexi has been a fantastic member of our board. She lives in the Barrington Estates subdivision, which is in close proximity to this. She has provided lots of positive and very good feedback to the Development Authority, and so I nominate Ms. Krausen back
Thank
to the
you.
authority.
And Ms. Krausen is here tonight. And I pity the person that, while she's here, tries to remove her from her good service. Is there an additional nomination for this post?
Mayor, I nominate Marla King.
All right, I have a nomination for Marla King. All right. Any other nominations? All right, all those in favor of Lexi Krausen continuing to serve, please raise your right hand. All right, all those in favor of Marla King, please raise your right hand. Thank you. I'll be vetoing that one for the same reason. All right, next we'll move on to Riverland's new appointment for post 1.
Thank you, Mayor. Mark Hagan has stepped away. Mark was a fantastic member of our Riverlands Authority, but he has some young grandchildren that he's taking care of these days, and a lot of travel. So he has declined, and so that position is open. And I'm in support of the individual that Mr. Page sent out today, Samantha Piovison, so I will nominate her.
All right, I have a nomination for Samantha Piovison. And she serves on the, well, she's involved in the Inclusive Task Force. All right, is there an additional nomination?
Yes, I would nominate Marla King.
All right, so we will start with Samantha Piovesan. All those in favor of her appointment, please raise your right hand. Okay. Samantha is appointed. Someone could let her know. I don't think she's here tonight.
Mayor, Joshua, I let her know. She had a prior commitment this evening.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, next we'll move on to item number 8, and that is beer and wine license retail for European Taste. Ms. Whittington.
Thank you, Mayor. The city received an application for the retail sale of beer and wine from an existing business, European Taste LLC, which is located at 5192 Nelson Brogdon Unit Boulevard, Unit 400. This is not for consumption or anything else. It's a retail sale for a grocery-type store located at the corner of Nelson Brogdon and Highway 20. All of the materials have come back on this application. They are approved. It includes a registered agent, a survey, a background check, everything involved in approval. So staff recommends approval of the application.
All right, thank you, Ms. Whittington. Any questions of Ms. Whittington? Yes, sir. Mr. Anderson.
Ms. Whittington, on the application, the name of the business is listed as Europea. I think an N is missing from European Taste LLC. I just wanted to clarify. I just wanted to make sure that was supposed to say European Taste LLC.
Sorry, but when I look back at the business license and all the other applications that they have, it is European Taste.
Without the N?
With the N.
With the N, okay. All right, I just wanted to clarify the name. I don't know if that matters. I know it's just an application, but I saw that on there and was a little confused by it. But all right, thank you.
All right, any other questions before I ask for a motion? All right, is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the beer and wine license for European Taste LLC at 5192 Nelson Brogdon Boulevard.
All right, I have a motion to approve. Is there from Mr. Anderson? Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Page. Any further discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All right, next and last is the 2025 municipal election qualifying fee. Ms. Whittington.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The city will be holding a municipal election on November 4th of this year for 2 city council posts and the mayor. The state election law requires that the qualifying fee be set by February 1 of any year in which an election will be held. The qualifying fee for this office is $108 for city council and $162 for mayor, which is 3% of the total gross salary for both offices for 2024. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Whittington. Any questions from council? All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to set the qualifying fees as discussed by the city clerk.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mr. Perkel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Hicks. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Good deal.
Unanimous.
I had originally mentioned that I wanted to talk about some personnel matters, and I'm going to be honest with you, I think I'd just rather wait until February. So in light of that, I'll just ask if there is a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Hicks, a second from Mr. Anderson. All those in favor of adjourning, please raise your right hand. Good deal.